Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger, my friends. This is my 10 essential tips guide for Tekken 8. The game is launched as of today, and I got some tips for you covering all the bases here: beginner, intermediate, and advanced. And let's start with perhaps one of the most important concepts of Tekken here, and it's something you really need to pay attention to: attack heights. So on this base level, Tekken has 3 attack heights, right? We got highs, we got mids, and we got lows. And that's, I hope a little self-explanatory, but just in case not here, a high is generally your fastest attack in Tekken. Whatever character you may be, generally the highs are the fastest attacks. Like, let's take one of the scariest moves in the game here, the Electric Wind God Fist, right? Very fast startup. If you do it correctly, it launches, and it's also advantage on block. But the one weakness of it, if you can give it that, is it is indeed a high. So I can crouch all I want, and if I'm crouching, it's going over my head. And many attacks have crouches built into them as well. Like, say Jack's down back 2. So his down back 2 is a low, and he's also ducking while doing it. So if we see that coming our way, we can just go under it with our move and bop him on the other side of things. So I don't necessarily have to wait for his attack. I can keep attacking if I know he's going for a high and I do an attack that has a crouching component built into the move. Now mids, those are the tricky ones here. Mids are a bit slower than highs, but they hit people both standing and crouching. You cannot crouch block a mid. You have to stand block it. So if you're crouching or doing an attack with a crouch that's built into it, regardless, if you're crouching, a mid will hit you. You have to stand block mids. That's what makes them scary. Now, simply enough, lows, you do block low, but lows have another weakness as well, in that you can go over them. Any attack that has a jumping component will easily go over lows. So say the fearsome Mishima Hell Sweep, it knocks you down and he punches you in the face, right? Now, you can get hit by this, but if you block low, naturally enough, you'll block it, right? And for the most part, you'll be able to get some kind of punish. That's generally how this works. But say you don't want to wait, because if you wait, you don't take the initiative, maybe they didn't go for that low, right? Maybe they hit you with a mid, and while you're crouch blocking, you're going to get hit. So if you want to take the initiative, maybe we'll do an attack with a jump built into it. So now if I know it's coming, it's as easy as just jumping over that big old sweep and bopping them in the head. I can't be hit by a low because I'm simply not on the ground to be hit by the low. And obviously things can get many layers more complex than that, because that's the nature of Tekken, but this is just a good idea to give you an idea of combat flow in the game. Now, next up, I want to impart upon you the importance of the counter hit. So what is a counter hit, just in case you're unaware? A counter hit is when someone attacks, and while they're attacking, you just knock them out of their attack. It's really that simple. It doesn't matter if the attack is super quick or if it's got 10 years of windup. As long as you just simply hit them out of it, you get a counter attack. Also, if you have the key charge up, whatever attack you hit the enemy with will automatically always be a counter attack. So why are counter attacks good? Well, one, they just give you more damage, right? Say down 4-2 here with Azucena, 12 damage. If I have a counter attack, it'll be 14 damage, and that's across the board, right? Every attack does more damage as a counter attack. But many moves in this game gain additional properties if it's a counter attack. And these properties can be a pretty big deal. Like, let's take Azucena's 1+2 punch. This kind of bops you in the face, right? And that's pretty cool. You know, punching someone in the face, that's probably why you're playing a fighting game, right? Because you want to do that. But when it's a counter hit instead, the enemy falls down like a sack of potatoes. And since they crumple big time after the counter hit, we can get full combos. You know, get a pretty appreciable amount of damage in here, right? And that's thanks specifically to the counter hit. Without it, we don't get anything. And that's going to be the case for many moves for many characters. Some other examples, while we have Azucena here, down 4-3 the knee by itself, it's just a hit. As a counter hit, also a crumple state we get a full combo from. Down 1, bop you on your head, send you on your way. On a counter hit, we bounce you. Once again here, combo time, right? Back turn stance 1+2. While we have our counter up, you better believe, again, we keep the combo ability going, right? So counter hits are very important. I highly suggest you look at your move list, because they can allow for very interesting things. And not even necessarily like always a cool full combo. Like something as simple here as Azucena full crouch down 4-3. It's just a good little poke on the legs, right? And if it's a counter hit, it's a good little poke on the legs that makes you slip, and you have a bit more stun advantage. And when you know what, it's exactly the right amount of frame advantage, with the slip also forcing you into a crouching state, that it lets her combo into her crouching grab, which also puts her in the heat mode, right? So there's a lot of really interesting things possible with counter hits. I highly suggest you play around and see what's possible. And always, if you're in practice mode, you can always just go into player counter, set counter hit, so every move will always be a counter hit, so you don't have to like manually set it up or anything. Please play around with what your counter hits are. Now, our next tip has to do with, well, the wall. Tekken being a 3D game, pretty much every stage you're going to find walls to work with. Some stages are bigger, some stages are smaller, but the wall's always there. And the one thing is the wall is there to help you beat up the enemy, both in terms of limiting their movement, but also increasing your damage. Say you do, you know, whatever your cool bread and butter combo is, right? And the thing about the wall is like, oh, well, I hit the wall, combo over, right? But plan your combos with the wall in mind. So say in that situation where I know I'm going to hit the wall, I don't want to just do the exact same combo. Let's work with what the game's giving me. So now here, like the beginning will be the same, but I know I'm working my way to the wall. So instead of doing the same follow-up, I'll put them on the wall and then go for, say, Jack's unique wall throw. Not tons more damage in that scenario, you can do better, but just to give you an idea, plan with the wall in mind. If you know you're working your way to the wall, then you should change your combos appropriately for them and maximize your damage. Now, keeping the wall in mind, certain attacks also get much deadlier against the wall. Take Jack's up back 1+2. So this is a power crush move of his, it's armored, so you know it's good to bulldog through stuff, and it sends the opponent flying. Doesn't do a lot of damage by itself, however, near the wall, it'll splat them on the wall. And once they're splatted on the wall, well, geez Louise, we can probably dream up a few fun scenarios. So against the wall, they hit the wall once, and we're still allowed to do certain combo extension moves, like say a tornado move. So if we hit them against the wall, forward, forward, 4 is a tornado, it'll spin them up and smack them into the wall again. And now, put it together, okay, hit, another hit, and we'll do that wall throw we mentioned earlier. And now for a bare minimum of effort, we got a titanic amount of damage. And once again, this is not necessarily optimal. It's just to give you an idea, right? But keep the wall in mind. Something like up back 1+2, you know, it's all right. It's a good get off me move for, you know, having armor. But if the opponent's backs to the wall, they're already desperate. They're more inclined to do, you know, more risky things, which you can then say armor through, smash them into the wall, and then potentially get a game-winning combo. So regardless where you are, near the wall, if you're full screen just doing combos, always keep the wall in mind. It's an integral part of the game. Now, another important tip to know is a pretty fundamental change to how the throw system works in Tekken 8 compared to, say, Tekken 7. So in Tekken, if you know a throw is coming, it's generally not the hardest to break it. There's a very generous throw break window in Tekken, but in Tekken 8 specifically, it can become a lot harder to break. Specifically in Tekken 8, if a throw hits as a counter hit, like it knocks you out of a move, the tech window becomes much smaller. Like you can hear me jamming those buttons, right? I am attempting to Tekken and it's just not happening. Like you have to have very, very quick and very precise timing. Otherwise, you're going to get thrown out. So in situations where you know the enemy is going to mash and attack some way somehow, and you just go for like a basic throw, even if they know exactly the throw, exactly the correct break, they still might not get it because the throw break window is much shorter when the throw is a counter hit. And now also in Tekken 8, throws can become unbreakable under the right circumstances. Any move in Tekken 8 that's specifically keyed as a defensive move, like say Asuka's parry stance, since it's a strictly defensive move, if I throw you now while you're doing it, notice that little break effect there? So if you throw someone while they're doing a strictly defensive move, the throw now becomes unbreakable. It doesn't matter what the throw is, what the break is, all that. If you are caught while doing a defensive move with a throw, you're done. And if you have, say, a particularly damaging throw, like say the bear's roll, then you just have to eat it. So people that have strong defensive moves, you have to watch out for throws, and if you're just smashing away and going nuts, you also have to watch out for throws because the throw break window, even if you intentionally know everything that's coming your way, still is so tight, you might not be able to break it. Now, for our next tip is to make you understand that not every attack in the game is simply just an attack. Many attacks have alternative properties, especially some have very strong defensive properties. And Leroy's a great example of this. He's very much a character designed to turn your offense on your own head, right? So I'll give you an example here. So a move like down, back, 1+2. You see, he kind of waves his hands and goes for a big ol' attack. And if it hits you, it's bad news because it's going to be a heating eater as well, right? But that part where he moves his hands, that's not for show. So say you're attacking him. The part where he moves his hands during that attack actually eats attacks. We call that a sabaki. So it's basically offensive defense or defensive offense, however you want to look at it. But he can make you look like a dang fool for trying to hit a button. Now let's try something a little more innocuous. Let's just try up 1. So up 1, it just looks like a basic strike, and if it connects, it certainly is, right? But it also has a defensive property. So once again, say you're attacking. If you attack into the move, he'll eat your move. But it will not follow through like the other one will. Something else happens here. It puts him in a unique stance. And from this unique stance, well, if you ever saw the movie Ip Man, gives you a good idea what's happening to your face here. So many moves have alternative properties besides just the base attack. Sometimes, with the right timing, it can shift into a throw, a hit throw. Sometimes a basic attack, when you're not expecting it, can do additional things like shift into a stance. And then when you weren't looking for the stance instead of the attack, something else happens. You gotta watch out. Some attacks are weird kamikaze unblockable attacks that hurt you just as much as the enemy, right? There's a lot of things. I highly suggest here, and I've already probably said this, but I highly suggest going to your move list here and have a look. Usually highlight it in red underneath whatever the move may be. If there's any additional properties, they'll give you an idea. So you really got to familiarize yourself with the move sets. So our next tip has to do with recoverable health specifically. As you can see here, when the health bar has just a little bit of gray to it, that is all recoverable. And how do you recover it? Well, by being offensive. Doesn't matter if the enemy is blocking your moves or if you get clean hits. As long as you're attacking and connecting with the enemy in some way, you will get that gray health back. And it's sort of at the ebb and flow of the game, right? Because recoverable health, recoverable though it may be, naturally enough, right? If the health you get killed at effectively, you can have like 90% recoverable health, and if you had 10% regular health and that's the game over, well, that's game over. As you can see, I have plenty of health to recover, but when you know it, that's all she wrote, right? So it behooves you to be aggressive to recover that health. Now on the flip, when you're in heat mode, pretty much everything you do does chip damage and thus puts just a lot of recoverable health on the enemy, right? And even if you're getting blocked, that means on the flip, you're actually that much closer to winning. Yes, they could potentially get that health back. However, you as a player are that much closer to winning. Also, certain characters have certain moves that actually steal recoverable health. Notice I had a screen effect there, and now all that recoverable health is gone. You lost your chance to get it back. So if you have a character with one of those very rare traits that can steal recoverable health, it can be a big shift, because even if they upswing and turn tables a little bit, they have no health back to get. It's all gone. So recoverable health is a very interesting new mechanic of the game. It lets you make big comebacks, right? Because a lot of damage you take, you can gain back and kind of swing back with all that health, right? But it also lets people punish overly defensive people, especially in heat, where pretty much everything will do chip damage regardless of the hits, right? And if you're a little too defensive, you eat too many of these, you can consider that, if you don't get it back, true health lost. And it just is a very interesting mechanic of Tekken 8. Now, one of the best things about Tekken 8 is replays, where you can watch your matches or other people's matches as well and see how it goes. And that's nothing new in fighting games, but how Tekken 8 does it is just a little bit different than how you're usually expecting it, in that when you're watching a replay, you can take over the replay. Like, let's take an example here. Panda is throwing Ling and then goes for a big attack. Ling tries something and gets blown up. Well, that sucks for Ling, but could things have changed? So we can restart the round here, and let's get back to the point where we were, right? We can actually fast forward a little bit or rewind a little bit. So right here is where things goes wrong, right? And then boom, the big hit comes. So let's rewind here, and what we're going to do is we're going to take control of Ling. We're actually going to play as her. So right here, okay, I'm going to now take control of her. So now, as this was happening before, I can actually change things up. I can then roll and kind of step out of the way, and boom. The situation where Ling got crushed before, I managed to avoid it. Versus trying to recreate the exact same scenario where she tried like a wig up kick. That didn't work out for her, as you can see here, right? So you can actually control everything yourself. Now on the flip here, we can actually work it a little bit differently. So let's rewind a little bit again here, and now we'll play. So we rewound a little bit again here, and we're playing again. And now, in the exact same scenario, I'm going to play as Panda. I can change fate from here, right? So now, let me go through that wake up kick. You know what? I'm going to throw you again. Screw you, right? You can change how things work. You can change fate if you will. This is an excellent tool for seeing how things could have gone. The replays will also go out of their way to show you what could have been. Like right here, we're going to go for a launcher. And hey, it's recommending us what the combo could be. That's really cool. So it's also a good learning resource on top of just seeing what could have been, right? Did you get hit with that whack-ass mix-up, as some mates say? You can go back into the replay, take control yourself, and see how that mix-up would have went, and see how you could have defended yourself from it. As far as replays go, these are incredibly valuable tools, both what the game's trying to teach you themselves through example combos, and the fact that you can learn and just take over every situation. Like right here, Panda's going to go for a big wind-up attack, and going to get knocked out of it. But what if things were just a little bit different? So right here, wind up, get smacked. But now that we know what's going to happen here, let's change fate, if you would, right? So now we're Panda. You know what? I'm not going to go for that big roll. And instead, I can get my own thing going on, right? So there you go, right? You can see what could have been. And it's just a really fantastic feature. I highly recommend you try out the replay feature in Tekken 8. For our next tip, I want to teach you the 2 magic numbers of Tekken. Frame data is very important in this game. It's important in every fighting game, but maybe even a little bit more in Tekken. Thankfully, the frame data in this version, like say other versions of the games over the years, the frame data is easily and readily available to you, right? Like it's on by default, so you can see everything, right? And the 2 numbers I want you to know, the magic numbers as it were, are -10 and -15. Why is that? Once again, every number is very applicable, but I don't want to overwhelm you. Why these 2 numbers are very specifically applicable to everything is 10 frames is as fast as an attack can be in Tekken. That is like the stock fastest timing. Therefore, if a move is -10 specifically, like say Jack's 444, this move is -10, it can always be punished. So Lily, let's use her standing 1-2. Standing 1 specifically is 10 frame startup. So if I hit with a move that's -10, this is always going to be guaranteed. And it works that way for every number -10 and up. So if it's -11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, it doesn't matter. If it's at least -10, you can always do almost every character their stand 1. Not every character, but almost every character. Stand 1 is a 10 frame move. So whatever you do stand 1 into whatever, it's almost always going to be a punish. So knowing the frame data here, if you know at least your standing 10 frame punish, you can punish anything -10 frames or worse. And the other big number, -15, as we mentioned here. So as you can see, that punishes -15 just the same. However, so for -15 specifically, the majority of the cast, something as simple as down forward 2, kind of like the generic launcher, the majority of the cast, that is exactly 15 frames. So if you block a move that's -15, you can then, for most of the cast, not everybody, most of the cast, you can be rest assured a -15 move is going to give you a free launcher and a free, pretty substantial combo. So that's why -10 and -15 are the 2 really big numbers to know. Obviously, there's specific punishes at every number, like -12, -13, -14, -16, upwards and onwards, right? But those are the 2 big ones to hit. -10 means, for the most part, guaranteed punish. Maybe not a big punish, but you can tap them at least and get some guaranteed damage in. And -15 is where the party really starts, because -15 for the most part is where launchers start becoming a thing, and then you get this really critical and substantial damage off a punish. So when you're looking at various numbers, in time, hopefully you can learn them all. The numbers are important, but when it comes to the negative numbers, -10, -15, these are the most important ones to keep in mind. Now, our next tip is about the heat system, and it's one of those things that probably makes sense when you think about it objectively, but a lot of people don't really notice until, well, it's too late, right? So the heat system, however you may enter it, either manually or through a given move of the heat engager, basically you're just a better version of the character you already are, right? You do more damage on a lot of moves, you do chip damage on everything, your moves get better, or you might get access to moves you simply don't get access to at all, right? But the thing about the heat system is it's just as strong when there's 1% left versus 100% left. So let's take a move here, puts us in heat, and now we have the heat. Good. We can go for one of our biggest moves, the heat smash, right? And heat smashes do a lot of damage. They're really cool. They're really fun. Some characters are even blessed to have multiple heat smashes, which is great, right? But the thing about heat smash is you can do it whenever you want, right? That heat smash, even though it takes all of your meter, you can do it when there's only like 1% meter left. So here we are, we're draining out our meter, and right at the very end, oh, okay, I'll do my heat smash, right? And you can rest assured, it's going to do just as much damage if I waited for the end as if I did it right at the start, right? You have no real incentive to do the biggest moves you have that drain all of your meter out of the gate. Wait for it to end, because the heat smash is good at the end just as it is at the beginning. And this is across the board. So when you're already in heat, you can do stuff like heat dash cancels, which will drain all of your remaining heat right away and either give you a bounce in the combo or an incredible amount of advantage frames if the opponent blocks. But just because you're in that situation doesn't necessarily mean you have to go for it right away. Like if I have tons of meter and like, sure, I'm +5 after this, but I burned all the meter, all the opportunities, all the damage, all the combos, all the things I could have done are gone just for a quick grab of a few plus frames pretty quick, right? That's not always the best investment. Like, I guess it's common sense, but I feel like I do have to say it. All the best things your character can do are possible when this bar is active, right? So don't cut it short just for like a quick bit of gratification, a quick plus frames, 5 more damage in a combo. Let it rock. Because even at bare minimum, say you got nothing, okay, they block, okay, I'll just do my heat smash real quick, right? Heat smashes are always going to be advantage on block anyways, right? So you can save it for the end, then you can have your cheap plus frames, but don't burn it at the beginning. Basically, it's the most important part of the round when you're in it, so make sure you maximize its value. So our final tip here has to do with the heat say it again, and a very interesting and specific property of the heat dash cancel. So heat dash cancel lets you take many moves and then dash cancel them, and you can get like whatever follow-up, right? That's good, that's great. Helps extend combos, all that kind of stuff, right? But what happens is, specifically the next move out of the heat dash cancel will actually not fully, but partially reset damage scaling, meaning whatever move you do after the heat dash cancel, regardless of how long the combo is before it, you'll actually do a good amount more damage. So let me show you a basic combo example first. So basic B&B combo for Paul. Not even necessarily the most optimal, but the mighty Death Fist hits at the end, right? And you notice the damage here, it says 13, because we did quite a few hits, so the damage is not going to be as high as it could, even though normally the move does a lot of damage by itself. But now we're going to do the exact same combo at a heat burst, so we're in heat state, and then we're going to do a heat dash cancel in the combo, and even though there's going to be even more hits in the combo we just did, look how much damage that Paul's Death Fist is going to do. So now, even though this was a last hit at the end of a much longer combo, notice the damage here, 22 damage. That's substantial. So whenever you're doing a heat dash cancel specifically, rather than going for, a giant elaborate combo that has even more scaling, all that kind of stuff, keep in mind that the next hit after the heat dash cancel is done is going to do close to its original damage value. So a single big blasting strike actually could be to your benefit. You can get a lot more damage out of it than you would most other moves because the damage scaling has been relaxed after the fact. I know we're dealing with like a lot of numbers and scaling, all that kind of stuff, but basically just go for your biggest, dumbest hit after heat dash cancel, and for the most part, you'll be well rewarded. Alright, so that's basically the video. I want to give you one bonus tip just to make your life easier when you're playing online. Go to game option settings and go down here to rollback settings. So normally it's set to standard. You don't want that. Set it to prioritize response. It'll make your online play just better all around. I don't know why this is not the default. I don't know why there's even other options to begin with, but trust me, rollback setting, go to prioritize response. You'll be better for it. That said, Tekken 8, it's a game with a lot of systems, a lot of mechanics. Hopefully these tips have helped you understand the game just a little bit more, and keep checking the channel because we'll be covering the game in more systems guides, character guides, tips, combos, strategies, all that kind of stuff. Stay tuned to the channel for that, for plenty more Tekken 8. Other than that, we're at the end of the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Tekken.